Alright, welcome everyone. I'm just going to make a quick video showing you how to use Jenkins to auto build our Java program via Gradle, Github and ngrok. Alright, so I'll be using Windows and I'll be using PowerShell. So shell, I'm going to press tar, make that a bit bigger. Alright, so what I'll do is I will create a sample project. I'm doing this right now. Alright, so let's go C projects. I've got a folder called projects and I've got a folder called tests. That doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. So I'm going to go, I'm just going to go I dot. That basically shows the Windows Explorer here. And what I'm going to do is I am going to show you, alright, so let's create a new folder, make the animalgreeter, okay, and then I'm going to cd into animalgreeter, like that, okay, so this folder is empty right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Gradle init, okay, so Gradle init. Going to choose application, 3 Java. I'm just going to accept the default. I want to choose Groovy, and I want to choose JUnit Jupyter. Project name, yep, leave it as default. Leave it as default. I'm going to choose. Asking us what version of Java we want to target. I'd say the minimum should be 11, so I'm just going to type 11. Generate build using new APIs and behavior. I'm just going to accept the default as no. Okay, brilliant. So you'll notice that in my folder here, it's created a app src main. So it's created some boilerplate code. Alright, I'm just going to go back. Alright, so I'm going to open this folder up on Visual Studio Code. I'm going to go code dot. The dot just basically says open in the current directory. Okay, and so from here on out, what I'll be doing is I will use Visual Studio's Explorer instead of the Windows Explorer. Okay, alright, so let's do this. Alright, so as you can see, after we've initiated Gradle init, it's created a couple of Java files. So Java file 1, which basically contains our source code. And it's also created another Java file called app-test.java, which basically contains some unit tests written in the JUnit format. Alright, so I'm going to press view and go to terminal. Okay, so as you can see, we're in the C projects test animalgreeter folder, which is basically the same as this. Okay, so we're in my PC, C drive, projects, test, animalgreeter. Alright, nothing special here. So let's quickly test whether this actually works first. So I'm going to type Gradle W. So Gradle W means I want to use Gradle wrapper. All right. So right now, I don't think my solution is set up for Gradle wrapper. So let's start by using Gradle wrapper, and we'll type Gradle W, and we'll go build. Okay, so what that does, it basically builds a wrapper file. If I could quickly show you here. Okay, under Gradle wrapper properties. Now we want to do that for several reasons. One, we want to streamline our build processes, not just amongst the people that we work with, but also our build server. In this case, it will be Jenkins. Okay, so from here on out, I won't be using Gradle anymore. I'll be using Gradle wrapper. All right, so let's quickly try and run our code. So Gradle w run. Okay, so it runs hello world. Okay, so at this point, as soon as you do a Gradle build, you'll notice that there's a build folder that is generated. Okay, so if we want to look at this from a more visual Windows Explorer perspective, we can actually go into the root directory, which is animalgreeter, and build. And we can actually go under reports, tests, test. And if we go to index, so I'm going to open this using Google Chrome. This one. Okay, so I'm just going to drag this file here. And you'll notice that I have one test under the animalgreeter package. Okay, it's under the app test class. And I have one test. Okay, so let's try and add a few more unit tests. So let's just copy this. I'm not going to go over unit testing very thoroughly. I'm assuming that you all know. So app, let's create another method. Has another greeting like that. Okay, and if I press the up key, and I go Gradle w build. Okay, so that would run our source code again, including the app test.java, and it should regenerate the report. So I can just head back over to Chrome. Now notice that this is just a local file. Okay, so it's under C projects animalgreeter app build reports test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and go reload. Okay, so as soon as I click reload, you can see that my extra test has shown up here. All right, let's create a few more. Okay, another greeting. Okay, and then let's go up key, build. Okay, right click and then reload. Okay, another greeting. Okay, so that's how you can add extra unit tests. And so this doesn't actually show us our code coverage. This only tells us whether a test has passed or not passed. So let's try and add the Jacoco plugin, which will help us generate a test coverage report. So let's head over to the build.gradle file, and we will add the Jacoco plugin, id jacoco, and then we want the Jacoco plugin to run when we run the test task, which is part of the build task. That's why when you run build, you will see the Jacoco test report. Okay, so let's add another directory here called finalized by Jacoco test report, and I'm going to press save. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll press the up key and press Gradle w build. Now you'll notice that if we go back to our Windows Explorer and we head back to the reports tab, reports directory, you'll notice that there's an extra folder here called Jacoco. Now let's click into it, HTML, index. Okay, so similar to what we did before, I'm going to drag this file into Chrome. Okay, so here you can see the code coverage report. If I click in that, we can see we've got the test coverage is pretty poor, but let's add a few more methods into our greeter. Okay, so this is a human greeting, so let's go public string get cat greeting, return meow, and then let's go public string get dog greeting, return wolf. Okay. Okay, so if I go Gradle w build now, and if I go back to Chrome, I should have a code coverage report that has reduced code coverage because we've added more logic, but we haven't written code to cover. We haven't written tests to cover the extra logic that we just added. So if we wanted to increase the coverage, we would go back to app-test.java and write unit tests for the dog greeting and the cat greeting. So let's just copy and paste this. And let's go. App has cat greeting. Okay, and let's go assert. Let's go assert equals. And then we want to say wolf. And then we want to say, and then class under test.get dog greeting. Oh no, we want to do, so this is actually has dog greeting. Okay. So if I go, I think that was with exclamation marks. Now, if I build again, I should have, okay, so dog greeting is 100% now. Okay, and if I do the same for cat, cat greeting, build again, go back here, refresh. Okay, so cat also has a greeting now. So you notice that we're on 56% right now, but you'll notice that we haven't covered our main method. Now there's probably a more elegant way to get rid of the red 0% coverage thing. But I'm just gonna use a temporary way. So I'm just gonna do this. App temporary fix for main. And so what I'll do is I will actually run it using app.main and then pass in a null parameter. Will that work? Okay, yeah, smalls. Then I'll go reload, and yay, we have 100% coverage. All right. Okay, so let's say we want to fail one of our tests. What we do? Instead of wolf, we'll go bar Gradle w build. Okay, let's go back here and reload. You notice that it's still 100%. The reason for this is because our build hasn't even succeeded. So if we go here and we reload, you notice that it has performed 6 tests and the dog greeting test has failed. Okay, so it didn't even bother to run the jacoco test coverage report. All right, so let's go back and fix that. So instead of the dog saying bar, we want to say wolf. Okay, press save, build again. Go back, reload, and we're back at 100, and we should still be back in 100. Okay, so let's add another greeting. Let's go public string get human greeting, return how do humans greet hello. Okay, and let's just go Gradle W, go back here. Let's just leave our coverage at 88%, okay? And we'll come back to this later. All right, so we know how to add extra unit tests and we know how to add a jacoco test report. All right, so we want our code hosted on GitHub, so let's push that there. So right now we don't actually have a Git repository on my local machine yet. So let's create it. Git init, git status. Let's see. Okay. Git add all my files. Git status. Okay. Git commit initial commit of the animalgreeter app. Okay. So we're git log. We can see our initial commit. All right, so let's go back to the university's GitHub, github.sydney.edu.au. I'm going to go to my organization here. No, that's 2022. Let's go to 2023. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to go view organization, repositories. I'll create a new repository. Let's name this animalgreeter. And I'll make this public for now. Okay, so what I will do is I will add the remote location as origin. And I will paste this so I can push my changes to the remote repository. Okay, now if I refresh this now, I should see all my code. Okay, initial commit, app, source, Gradle, Java. Okie dokie. Okay, that's done. Add new repo, push changes to remote. We've done that. Okay, so now we want to host a Jenkins server. And the easiest way, there's multiple ways to do this, but the easiest way is to download Docker. Okay, so let's go to I'm just going to go docker install. And then it should just be the first link. It will ask you what platform you want to install for. I'm using Windows 10, so I can just press Docker desktop. And then you just download it for Windows. I think I've already downloaded it about an hour ago. I haven't installed it yet, so I'll just install it now. Okay, just wait for it. Hopefully it won't take too long. WSL, yeah, okay. Okay, so we can tick that off. Install Docker. Okay, you must restart Windows to complete the installation. Okay, all right, let's just pause and come back to this. All right, so Windows just finished restarting, and I think the Docker installation is continuing now. So I'm going to accept the terms and conditions. Docker desktop requires a new WSL kernel version. Update the WSL kernel by running WSL update. Okay, let's try that. I'm gonna open PowerShell, I guess, and then run as administrator. Guessing it might need administrative privileges. So what is it? WSL update. Okay. Installing Windows subsystem for Linux. Okay. See what this is all about. Okay, Windows subsystem has been installed. Okay. Quit. What does that do? Continue without signing in. Skip. Docker engine is stopped. Okay. What can I do? Restart? Let's just quit and restart again. No? Won't even let me quit. Okay. Docker desktop and task. Let's just try it. Yeah, Doc hasn't really started. Okay, guess we'll have to restart Windows again. We're back. Okay, so it looks like my Docker desktop for Windows 10 has successfully been installed. Alright, let's try this. So if we hover over the little Docker desktop container down here, and we right click, it should say Docker desktop is running. Alright, so let's try running a container. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm going to copy this. This is basically saying, Docker, can you please run an image? The image is called Jenkins LTS JDK11, which I'm assuming is just the official Jenkins image that's the long-term servicing image that has Java 11 pre-installed, and we want to map it to our local computer's localhost 8080. All right, so let's give it a go. So let's open Windows. I'm going to use PowerShell. I'm going to run it as admin. Just, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to right click. Okay, so this is basically the command that I copy and pasted. unable to find image, of course. This is a brand new installation. It's going out to fetch the Jenkins image from Docker Hub. So while we're waiting, I can show you what that actually looks like. So if you go to Docker Hub and you search for, this is kind of like the app store of container world. Okay, so if we search for Jenkins, you see that we have one here. Okay, and so this is kind of like an app store with lots of different versions of the apps, and they're all tagged differently. Okay, so we're using the LTS JDK11 tag. Okay, so if you look here, there's lots of different tags. There's 2.4.6 JDK11. So for the purposes of this demo, I think we'll just go with LTS. Alright, okay. Ports are not available. Listen, forbidden ports. Is my container actually running though? Okay, let's have a look. 8080. No, not working. Okay, let's go. Ports are not available. Attempt was made to access a socket and is forbidden by its permissions. Okay, let's Google what that means. Oh, okay. I know what I did wrong. I did something silly. We don't want to map 8080 to 80. We want to map 8080 to 8080. Alright, let's try again. Okay, so right now, if I go to Docker PS, I've got Docker PSA. Let's see all my dangling containers. So let's actually remove that. Docker rm my Jenkins. Okay, now let's rerun this again. So I had to remove that container that was running or stopped. Okay, let's run that again, but this time we're going to use 8080 instead of 80. Okay. Okay, yes, we will allow 8080. Okay, so that started without errors. Okay, all right. So I'm going to put a mark there. Okay, so to retrieve the initial password, we actually have to go to the web application. Okay, so Jenkins exposes a web application for us to use. So we can go to localhost 8080. Okay, so this is a security thing, and we need to get access to the local admin password, and it's located here. Now you notice that this doesn't look like anywhere on your computer because it's in a kind of Linuxy kind of directory. That's because Docker under the hood is running a Linux container. So we actually need to go inside that Linux container and get our password. Luckily for us, we can actually run a little command that uses cat to print out the password for us in that directory in the my Jenkins container. Okay, so we'll just right click and copy this. Copy, go back here, and then I'm going to paste it in my PowerShell terminal. Okay, I'm going to press enter. Okay, now that's basically printed out my admin password. Okay, I'm just going to quickly paste it here. Admin password for Jenkins. Okay, I'll copy that again. And then let's feed it into the browser. Okay, and we want to install the suggested plugins. Alright, so in the background, it's going out and fetching all the suggested plugins that Jenkins thinks I may want. This might take a while, I think, probably about 10 minutes. Okay, so we're currently, we've got that. Alright, so I've got this step here. So this is part of a cleanup step. We'll do this once we are finished with this demo. And for you, that might mean when you're finished either with the tutorial or with the course. Okay, so while we are waiting for this to load, why don't we jump over to step 5 and just to save us a bit of time. So I'll just leave this running here like this, just so we can keep an eye on it. And then over here, let's try and install and configure ngrok. Okay, so let's go and download ngrok. So I'm just going to ngrok.com. Now, you need like an auth token, and it's basically free, so you can just press sign up. Okay, I've already got mine. So, and if I go login, yeah. But first, before you do that, you actually need to download ngrok. Okay, so you can just press download for Windows, and you'll have this kind of zip file. But this is not the recommended way to install it. I would recommend installing it via. Let me actually log out. Actually, I'm going to use an incognito window, and I go ngrok.com. Okay, actually, let's not do that yet, because our installation is ready for Jenkins. All right, we'll come back to ngrok. Okay, let's put this back here. Okay, so create your first admin user. My user can be called Frank. Password, Jenkins, new admin, username is Frank. Jenkins, new admin, password is Frank admin 1. Let's do that. Full name is Frank, and my email is frank@frank.com. Let's just keep that. I don't think this email address really matters. Save and continue. Okay, instance configuration. Yeah, let's just leave it as that. Start using Jenkins. All right, cool. So, welcome to Jenkins. There's a few things that we want to configure. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to our checklist. Okay, so we can open Jenkins on localhost 8080. Okay, so let's add Jacoco support. All right, so let's try and find a way to add the Jacoco plugin. So let's go to Jenkins dashboard. Guessing no. Okay, configure. The UI has changed. Builds, no. Manage Jenkins. Okay, so you go to the root and go to manage Jenkins. And then if we click on plugins, we should be able to search for a plugin. Let's try and search for Jacoco. No? Oh, okay, because I'm in the updates section. So I might have to go to available plugins and search Jacoco. So let's click on that, install, download progress. Guessing these are all the dependencies. Okay, let's restart. Okay, so it looks like it requires a restart. So restart when installation is complete and no jobs are running. Please wait while Jenkins is restarting. Okay, so I'm guessing Jenkins is doing a graceful restart. So usually you might have a few builds running and it would rate for those builds to complete before actually doing a restart. Uh-oh. So Jenkins is restarted, but what is my username and password? Oh, maybe it's this. Copy, paste, and then copy, and paste. Keep me signed in. Voila. Okay, so we've added Jacoco support. Now we also need to ask Jenkins to play nicely with GitHub Enterprise. So at USYD, we're using a product called GitHub Enterprise, which is not the standard GitHub cloud offering. So this is, I'm guessing, is hosted by the University of Sydney themselves. Okay, so we need to add support for it. Okay, so now let's try and figure that out. I'm guessing let's go back to manage Jenkins. System. Okay. Is it here? Okay, so if we go to system, and then we go add GitHub server, I think this is it. Okay, so let's give it a name, UC GitHub. I don't think the name really matters, but we need to give it a API URL. Okay, so let's paste that in. Credentials. Oh wait, we want to set the name to GitHub. I don't think this really matters, but let's just paste it in there anyway. Credentials, I reckon we can get away with it. Let's go test connection. Fail to validate account. Oh, of course. we're configuring the wrong place. So this is GitHub, not GitHub Enterprise. So what we'll do is we will just delete that, and we want to add a GitHub Enterprise server. So this is the correct one. API endpoint. Name is just GitHub USYD. Okay. And we should be able to just press save. Okay. Dashboard. Okay. Cool. So that's done. Okay. So now on to some more interesting stuff. So let's try and build a new project. Let's go dashboard and then new item. And then we'll go to, I don't know, we'll just give our project a name. What do we want to call it? What did we call our project again? C projects test. We called it animal greeter. Okay. Animal greeter project. Okay. Choose freestyle project. Okay. Okay, so we want Jenkins to go out and pull our latest code, but he needs to know the location of the code. Okay, so let's go git, and we need the URL. So let's go here, and we go, yeah, let's go SSH, HTTPS, that might be easier. So click on that, paste. Okay, okay, so we need to give it credentials. Okay, let's add our credentials. Okay, so this should be my uni key. And then ID should be just whatever, USYD, GitHub, Frank, USYD, creds. Okay, I'm going to delete this afterwards. USYD, GitHub, creds. Okay, let's go add. Okay, looks like it's still red, so it's probably because I haven't selected the credentials. There we go. Alright, so we should be good. What else do we want to add? We want to click on this button here, GitHub hook trigger. So this basically enables the Jenkins project to listen for webhooks. Okay, so if another party, say GitHub, wants to talk to Jenkins and say, hey, this is, you need to trigger a build, then yeah, this basically lets you do that. Alright, so what we want to do is so Jenkins is a pretty versatile tool. You can get it to do so many things. But one thing we wanted to do, at least for now, is to run Gradle build. Okay, so let's do that by adding what's called a build step. So let's go add build step, and then we want to invoke a Gradle script. Now we can ask it to run the default Gradle version that was installed as part of Jenkins, but that would not be fun. Or the better way to do it is to use Gradle wrapper. Okay, so remember when we typed Gradle W and then we did build? Yeah, so we want Jenkins to also do the same thing. Okay, and that's use Gradle wrapper. Now we wanted to run two tasks. One is the clean task and the second is the build task. Okay. Okay, so now we also want to add, we also want to ask Jenkins to generate a test report for us. Okay, so we want to post build action. We want to ask publish a test report like this. Okay, so okay, let's just update that a bit. Add a new project, configure project. Cool, we're configuring this now. We've added the Git credentials, set up auto build. Okay, that's, well, we'll do that later once we finish ngrok. So that won't work yet. Execute via Gradle wrapper. we want to publish the JUnit test report. Okay, so we right click on this, copy, and then we'll go to, okay, so this is a built-in post-build action as part of the JUnit plugin. So remember how at the start of the installation it was asking us whether we wanted to install the suggested plugin. So JUnit was one of the suggested plugins. But we need to give the plugin a little hint about where this XML file is. Okay, so in our directory, after it runs Gradle build, it actually stores the test.xml file in here, build, test results, test, and then this. So this is an XML document. Okay, so it should actually end in .xml, but okay, I think it's because I don't have file name extensions. Okay, so see this XML file, test animalgreeter app test.xml. So if we look at this, I'm just going to use Sublime Text. You'll be able to see that it's an XML file that contains our result. Okay, so what the test names are, so I've got test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, so all the cat, dog greetings, and basically how long it took to execute the tests. Okay. Alright, so we need to tell Jenkins where this XML file is. Now, you could kind of go, copy this and go, you know, something like that. I don't know the exact syntax for it, but if you want to kind of cheat a little bit, you can just copy this. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that. That basically says, hey, look for any XML file that you find that's within the test results folder, which is what we have here now. Test results, test, and then that XML file. So this is what it's looking at. So Jenkins, the JUnit plugin, needs to know where this XML file is to kind of give you like a neat UI of, you know, where you're standing in terms of, yeah, you know, whether your unit tests are passing or failing. And we'll revisit this shortly. So I'll try and fail the build so you know that it works. All right, so moving on, we've done publish test unit report. Let's add a post build. Okay, so we also wanted to track our Jacoco test coverage as well. So what we'll do is we will add this. Click add post build action and go to record Jacoco coverage report. Like that. Now, for now, we can accept the default options, but we can actually exclude certain files from being included as part of the code coverage, which would have been nice. We wouldn't have to add that little hack in there for the main method. All right, let's press save. Okay. All right, so this isn't exactly interesting, but let's kind of just manually force a build right now. Okay, so I'm just going to go build now. Okay, it says build scheduled. Okay, so build number 1 has failed. Uh-oh. Why has it failed? Let's have a look. Fail to determine. The recommended Git tool is none. Could not find any revision of the build. Okay, what could be wrong? Git config origin. Oh, okay, I see where it is. it's trying to look for a branch called master. But I believe my app doesn't have a master branch. It's called main instead. Okay, yeah, let's go back to main. Okay, let's see if we can configure it to read the main branch instead of the master branch. Let's go back here and we go configure repository branches to build. Okay, so I would probably want to build the main branch and possibly down the track develop, or maybe even feature 1, 2, 3. So if you're working on a feature branch, you could also build that as well. So let's just press save. Alright, so let's try and build again. Oh, okay, so there's like a little symbol there, so that's promising. Okay, but it looks like it still failed. Let's have a look. So output. Okay, what's this? Permission denied. Build step invoke, build failure. Okay. Cannot run program Gradle W in directory. What could this mean? Cannot run program in directory, permission is denied. Okay. That's strange. Let's try again. How about this one? How about we try just invoke Gradle. Let's see what happens. Build it now. Oh, that still failed. Cannot run program Gradle in directory. Okay. Well, that's no fun. Did it install Gradle properly? Let's have a look. Dashboard, manage Jenkins tools. Okay. Okay. Maybe because I don't have any Gradle installation. Let's try and add a Gradle installation. I don't know. Gradle latest 2023. Gradle. Let's just go Gradle 8.1. Save. Okay. Let's go back to the dashboard. And let's go back to the animalgreeter project. Alright, come on. Give me a build. Cannot run. Maybe I have to assign it after I add Gradle. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go Gradle version. Oh, maybe I need to go Gradle latest 2023. Press save. Alright, let's try again. Okay, it's spinning. It's spinning. Not working. Spinning, spinning, spinning. Let's click on it and find out. Console output. Oh, something's happening. Build successful. Okay. Jacoco plugin. Alright, so, oh, I've got a green tick. Excellent. So, build number 5 was finally successful. Alright, let's go. Alright, so now Jenkins can actually show. Remember, the goal of this demo was to show that Jenkins can show test results. So if we click on test result here, okay, we can see. Okay, so there's 6 passes and 6 tests in total. And now if I go here, click on it, we can see all of our tests. Okay. Now if we go back to build number 5. And then we go to status. We can also see a Jacoco test report here, like that. Okay. So we've got 92% coverage. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Now, if we click on the code coverage report tab, it should give us a bit more detail. Okay, so in our animalgreeter package, you can see that we've covered 89%. Okay, so remember we have added a method called getHumanGreeting, but we don't actually have any unit tests to cover it. So let's open code dot. So this is our. Okay, so remember we have got getHumanGreeting, but in our test file, we don't have any tests that cover getHumanGreeting. So this is why we're currently sitting at however many percent that was. We're sitting at 89%. All right. Okay. That's good news. We can automate. Okay, so right now we can manually start a build. So we can Jenkins can start a build manually. Okay, so we've done that, but we haven't got Jenkins to start automatically. But before we go ahead, I actually want our project to work with Gradle wrapper. So let's just go back and configure the Gradle properly. Let's see if we can use Gradle wrapper. Use Gradle wrapper. Okay, and then maybe we can go make the Gradle W executable. Okay, let's build again. Still no love. Okay, could not load Gradle wrapper main. Okay. Okay. That's fine. I think we can tackle that another day. For now, we can just stick with Gradle latest 2023. Okay, let's go save. Let's build it again. Just make sure that still works. Okay, so that seems to be okay. All right, let's keep moving. let's install ngrok. So right now, the reason why we want to install ngrok is because GitHub has no way of reaching our Jenkins server. Okay, so localhost is my local home in my apartment or house, and it's not publicly accessible by the wider internet. Okay, now this tool called ngrok basically exposes our local host to the public internet. Okay, so but we need to be careful with that, and we need to be aware of the dangers that might come with, you know, exposing our local host to the internet. All right, but we need to do that now because we need to be contactable by the university's GitHub. All right, so let's install ngrok. All right, so let's just install ngrok first. Let's try, and I'm just going to open incognito mode. And then I'm going to go ngrok install. And then we'll go download. Okay, so you'll see this page, and I'm using Windows. So I'm going to install it via Chocolatey. Okay, so if you haven't installed Chocolatey, I would highly suggest you go and install that first. But that basically is, so all you have to do is just right click, search for Chocolatey, and then click on install. Okay, and then all you need to do is to copy this and then install it like this, and then press enter. I'm not going to press enter because I've already got Chocolatey installed, and you'll know that you've got Chocolatey installed because if you type choco, you'll get like a little command prompt. Yeah. Okay, so Chocolatey is like a package manager. So on macOS, you've got like, you know, brew or ports. Linux, you've got like, I don't know, apt and whatever the other flavors of Linux use. All right, so we're gonna use Chocolatey to install the ngrok binaries for us. Okay, so I'm gonna go right click, copy. And just to prove that I don't have ngrok installed already, if I type ngrok right now, Windows won't actually recognize that as something that you can run. Okay, so we're going to install ngrok so that we can actually run ngrok. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay, so the install of ngrok was successful. All right, let's try it out. Ngrok. Brilliant, it didn't come back with an error. And it looks like it's a command line utility. All right, so we've installed ngrok. Chocolatey. And then we want to configure ngrok. Okay, so we want to expose certain parts of our local machine to the outside world. Right now, we only want to expose ports 8080 to the whole wide world. Okay, but before we do that, ngrok is we need to supply ngrok with a token that basically identifies who you are. Okay, now usually you would put in your token here like that using that syntax, but because I'm already signed in, so if I go here and I go get started, setup. Okay, so once you log in and sign up to ngrok, it's free. You can sign up for a free account. You'll get your own auth token. So I'm going to go copy. Oh, that didn't copy, so I'll just do it again, and then right click. Auth token save to configuration file. Excellent. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to type ngrok. We want to ask ngrok to expose our local host via HTTP port 8080. Now, remember what local port 8080 was? Okay, don't know what just happened, but let's try it again. PowerShell. Actually, you know what? I won't use PowerShell for this because we want this window to stay open. So I'm going to go here and then I'm going to type Windows command prompt. I'm going to open this as administrator. And I'm going to type ngrok HTTP 8080. Oh, what just happened? Your account is currently limited to one simultaneous ngrok session. You can run multiple tunnels. Okay. Alright. What tunnels have I got running right now? Oh, so it looks like I've already got one tunnel running. Okay. So it looks like... Okay. Can I disconnect it? Stop. Disconnect. Stop. So we'll do that again. ngrok HTTP 8080. Oh, okay, so it probably just closed itself. So now you could probably go to tunnels and go to agents. Okay, there we go. All right, so it's given us a publicly accessible IP address. So I'm going to click on that. Copy. And so if I go to localhost 8080, I've got my little Jenkins thing. And if I click here, press paste, which is the ngrok URL. Okay, so you notice that my Jenkins server has now got a publicly accessible address that can be accessible anywhere around the world. So it doesn't matter whether my friends are in Canada or the US or New Zealand, they should be able to access this if I give them the URL. Well, they've got to have the username and password as well. So I should be able to log in using my password that I saved earlier. Excellent. And now you've got a running Jenkins server that you can access from anywhere around the world. How cool is that? The catch is, I think, ngrok has limits you on the number of how much traffic you can have, per day or per hour. I don't know the exact details, so you have to kind of use that sparingly. All right, but there you have it. Okay. Now, what we want to do is so we're doing all this so that we can set up what's called a webhook that is fired by GitHub to our Jenkins server. All right, so there's a bit of setup involved, not too heavy. So we're going to go back to our animalgreeter repository, and we're going to go settings, and then we want to go hooks, and we want to add a webhook. Okay, so let's add a webhook, and then the URL is, I've got it written down here. So the payload URL is, well, whatever your ngrok URL is, and then you paste it here. So let's paste our ngrok URL here. So ngrok URL is this, yeah. This, and then we're going to paste it in there. Oh, that's a bit too much slashes. I'll just clean that up a little bit. Like that. And then the content type is application JSON. And then we should be able to just add the webhook. Oh, there's a little green tick there. So that might mean It's working. Yeah, okay. Well, let's test it out. Okay, so right now, let's go back to our project here, and then we can go configure. Where's the webhook? That should be good. All right, so we're currently sitting on build number 7. So let's try and make a change. I'm gonna go back to, don't worry about this PowerShell thingy. Okay, and then I'm gonna view the terminal thingy again. Where's the terminal thingy? There we go. All right, so let's move that somewhere down here. We'll make that window a little bit smaller. All right. So let's, I don't know, what should we do? Let's just make a random change. Let's just ask our human to not say hello, but hello from human. Okay, just a random text change. And then if we go git status, we can see that, and then git diff, we can see that we just made a very simple change. Okay, now let's actually commit that. Let's add it to the index, and let's commit it. Making human greeting slightly more human. All right, so at this point, your build shouldn't come up here yet because we haven't actually pushed this to GitHub. Okay, so when I do a git push, this pushes my changes into GitHub here. Okay, and what happens is this GitHub enterprise, it will send what's called a webhook to my Jenkins server here. Yeah, this Jenkins server. And that should automatically start build number 8. So you remember how previously I had to press build now before build number 8 would appear? So the idea is any one of your teammates anywhere in the world can just press git push and a build would show up here. Okay, so let's try that. Git push. All right, so as soon as I pressed git push, build number 8 started to build. Okay. It kicked off build number 8. Build number 8 is running right now. So that's the magic. All right. Now if we go there, we can see the last git commit message. Oh. Making human greeting slightly more human. Okay? It was started by GitHub push by me, FIFU8670. Okie dokie. So, there we have it. We know how to configure ngrok, we know how to start ngrok, and we've configured our repo. We've taken it for a test drive. Okay. And we can also start Jenkins automatically. Okay. And Jenkins can also receive a webhook request from GitHub. Brilliant. Okay, so let's see what actually happens if we break our build. So let's say I don't know. Let's say our cat. Let's say we were expecting our cat to go meow with an extra W, right? And I press save, and I press git, and let's go git status first. Okay, so let's add that to the index, git commit. Changing the way our cat does greetings. Okay, so if we go git push, it's go back here. It should start build number 9. Yeah, but build number 9 should fail. Okay, so if someone commits some dodgy code, you want to be able to catch it as soon as possible. Okay, so build number 9 has just started. Let's see if it fails. Okay, there we go. So build number 9 has failed as expected because our cat doesn't go meow with so many W's, right? So let's click on number 9. Let's say you didn't know this. Someone in your team, I don't know, committed some dodgy code. The idea is your unit test would catch that. All right. So, okay, so this doesn't tell us where we went wrong. Well, it kind of does. It says test result, animal greeter, cat has a greeting is the offending test. Okay, so let's click on that. Okay, it tells us that. Okay, assertion failed error. We expected meow W, but it was actually meow. Okay, so we've got regression. Okay, now if we fix that, I don't know, meow W, just with a single thing, and we go git add dot git commit maybe this would fix the way our cat actually greets. Okay, and we go git push, and we go back. Number 10, build number 10 has kicked off. Okay, so you notice that it's still red because it's still thinking. Okay, means it's still pulling down our source code, running Gradle build, and okay, this time it's come back as green. Okay. Okay, dokie. So that is how we can use Jenkins to do auto builds. Okay, via Gradle, GitHub, and ngrok. Alright, so let's say we've come to the end of the semester and we want to clean everything up. Okay, what we can do is we can, first off, let's kill the container. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You should be able to do it using the GUI, the GUI, or you can use the command line, which is my preferred method. But let's try using the GUI. So let's go, let's try and stop the Docker container. So let's stop. Okay, so once you stop it, if you go back to the local host, nothing will happen now because the container has stopped. And likewise for your ngrok website, okay, it will stop responding. Okay, it will no longer work. Okay, and then we want to delete the image as well, like that. Delete forever. And that's it. Your Jenkins has been successfully uninstalled, just like that. That's the beauty of having everything stored via Docker. Alright, so we also want to terminate our connection with ngrok. We don't want people listening to our traffic, so we can just come here and press stop. There you go. If you refresh this, it shouldn't even work. Okay, so that is how you can stop a container and how you can stop ngrok. Okay, I hope you've all enjoyed this quick and dirty tutorial. If you've got any questions, leave it in the comments below. Bye.